Yeah, so it is a group coaching program, but every member also has a monthly one-on-one with me. So it's a little bit of both, which I think that's what sets it apart, honestly, because you still get a lot of high touch attention, which is really wonderful.
And is there a specific like group of people? You said woman in the beginning, but is there like a specific industry or is it a specific demographic or no?
Yeah, well, it's industry agnostic, but usually.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets, the podcast where we talk with successful career coaches on how they built their success and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is Davis Nguyen, and I'm the founder of Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to 7 and 8 figures without burning out. Before Purple Circle, I started and scaled several 7 and 8 figure career coaching businesses myself and consulted with 2 career coaching businesses that are now doing over $100 million each. Whether you're an established coach or just building your practice for the first time, you'll discover the secrets to elevating your coaching business.
Hey everyone, welcome again to another episode of Career Coaching Secrets podcast. Today my guest is Gabriella Alziari, an intuitive channel, life coach, and founder of Alziari Coaching, with a master's in organizational behavior and LSE and a background in leadership coaching. Gabriella transitioned from corporate world to full-time spiritual work, blending intuitive guidance with behavioral coaching to help high-achieving clients gain clarity and direction. She now supports entrepreneurs and business leaders across 50 countries, teaching them to access their intuition and align their personal growth with professional goals. Gabriella, we're excited to learn from your unique approach to transformational coaching. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Gabriella, tell me a little bit more about what inspired you to become a life coach.
Well, growing up, I thought that there must be another hack to life than just following what I was told. I was trained in a very corporate background, which I loved for many reasons. And I actually hit a cap in my career where I felt like I wasn't receiving the same motivation that initially inspired me when I was really young. And so I started exploring different, more holistic channels of growth. What does it look like to be a life coach? What does it look like to study performance and motivation? And once I got into that work, I understood the power of mindset and the power of energy. And I really started to dedicate myself to this concept that we can change anything about ourselves at any time. It just takes really good habits and really sincere commitment. So that's how it started. I was working at Accenture in the consulting industry at the time, and I managed a lot of younger analysts as they were first coming into Accenture. And I really enjoyed being able to coach them throughout that very formative period of their life. And it just transpired into my business.
Nice. I see the connection there. So also in my consulting offer, we work with uh, like maybe consultants that want to, like, let's say students that want to get a job in consulting. So potentially there might have been
Yeah.
some overlap with the people that you work with. And so you've been doing this for about 5 years, 5.5 years, this life coaching business. How does the journey look like from the point that you started it to where you are at today?
My journey has radically changed over time. I actually started my business on YouTube, and at the time, I didn't know that my business would become what it is today. So essentially, how I started was literally just wanting to share my gifts. I shared a lot about connecting to spirit guides, which is one of the things that I teach other people to do now. I shared a lot about messages on how you can get more in touch with yourself and understand more about your purpose. And I grew my YouTube channel to over 50,000 subscribers. And then over time, begun taking one-on-one clients and then eventually group coaching programs. And today, I'm largely focused on my group coaching program, which is a 6-month container to help women really identify their purpose. And it's called Dreamweaver. And through the 6 months, I guide them through how to trust their intuition and then how to identify what their mission is here on planet Earth. And we make a plan together for how they can actually fulfill that. So it's been a really long and rewarding journey.
Is this program, when it comes, is this for the group coaching or the one-on-one coaching?
Yeah, so it is a group coaching program, but every member also has a monthly one-on-one with me. So it's a little bit of both, which I think that's what sets it apart, honestly, because you still get a lot of high touch attention, which is really wonderful.
And is there a specific like group of people? You said woman in the beginning, but is there like a specific industry or is it a specific demographic or no?
Yeah, well, it's industry agnostic, but usually it's women who are in their 30s to 50. That's what I find, and they're just seeking deeper purpose and meaning in their life. So similar to my own journey, they feel like they have performed very highly on paper. Maybe they have gotten promoted, but they're feeling unfulfilled and they feel like they have deeper gifts and a deeper purpose, and they just don't know how to actually execute on that. So that's what I help people with.
And where do you currently go about finding your clients? Like you mentioned your YouTube channel is about 50,000. Maybe it has grown even more to this day, but is that like the main marketing channel, or is there like LinkedIn or other channels that um, potentially work better for you?
So it started on YouTube, and I still do get clients from YouTube, but today I actually get most of my clients from events. So I lead about 2 to 3 events per month, usually on the topics of connecting to your intuition and understanding more about your mission and your purpose. And usually after attending an event, most clients will sign on to work with me in a group coaching container. So that's been working really well. And I really enjoy leading the events. And I also find it creates a beautiful community for the women. So even if they don't work with me at that second, usually they continue to come to the events monthly. And it's a really beautiful community.
Nice. And so you said monthly, so you're doing like one event per month or
Well, between 1 to 3, more than one. Yeah.
oh, 1 to 3. And these are virtual events on like Zoom or something like that.
Yeah, mainly virtual. I do also do in-person events, but virtual is where most of them, yeah, most of the clients are coming from today.
Cool. And how do you market these live events? Like, do you have an email list that you typically send people, let them know that there's this event, or do you just run ads on this event?
I have an email list, so I will always send out at least one newsletter a month, and then I also post them on Instagram. And usually, actually, all of my events as of this year are sold out, which is beautiful. And that's something that has only just happened this year, so something to celebrate. But yeah, Instagram, YouTube, and then my email newsletter are my 3 channels for marketing.
Nice. Well, thanks for sharing that. So typically, someone comes into the event, they enjoy the event, and then most likely they join the group coaching. And even if they don't join, you said that they still do like the community vibe and just like the live event experience. And normally, you are the one who hosts these events, right?
Yeah, I host all of them.
Cool. And do you have any goals that you are now working towards in the next 1 to 3 years regarding your life coaching business?
So something that is a big goal for me is just continuing to build the scale at which I can support people. So because my group coaching program is so high touch and I do offer one-on-ones, eventually I'll need to dramatically scale that so that I can take double the size. My coaching cohorts currently are still fairly small, between 7 to 12 people, but I would love to get them to like 30 people, maybe even 50 people. And so one of my goals for this year is actually to do more public speaking, so podcasts and on-stage speaking. I already do in-person events, but just continuing to broaden my community. And really, it's with the intention of sharing Spirit's messages and helping more people find their purpose, because I believe that if more people understand what their purpose is, they'll be happier and we'll have a much more enlightened world.
Well, we're happy to kind of like support you in just a little bit doing this one podcast together.
Yeah, thank you.
And in your experience so far, building your coaching business, what would you say has been like the best investment that like has been most valuable for you in growing your business?
Well, as a coach, the best investment, to be honest, was just hiring an incredible coach for myself, somebody who could help me work through any challenges that were coming up. For example, public speaking for a lot of people is really scary, and it wasn't always comfortable for me. So I hired a coach to work on that. I also have joined a number of masterminds, and I find that having the accountability of telling other people, this is the homework I'm setting for myself, these are my goals this week, and I have to show up to those same people and see them the next week and tell them if I fulfilled that or not, that has been an amazing investment. So I really do believe that we make more progress when we are not just doing it all alone. And so masterminds for me have been the way to go.
And is there any specific mastermind that you feel like has been better for you as a life coach?
I'm in one currently, which is called Devotion, and it's for female entrepreneurs. And what is so helpful about it is it's actually a very simple mastermind. We meet bi-weekly for 30 minutes and we just share our goals. We have big quarterly meetings where we meet in person. And yeah, it's hosted by another coach who I've worked with for a while, and that one has been the most helpful. I will say I have also joined other masterminds which were tailored to marketing, and what I found with some of those is that although the content was really good and helpful, it actually didn't work as well for my business. And part of it was because not everything in business can be copied. Sometimes you really do need to have your own unique messaging, your own unique gifts, and there's a lot of mimicry that can happen in the coaching industry. And so I learned the hard way. I learned that not everything that is sold to me is actually going to elevate my business. So yeah, I have had to have a lot of discernment during the process, but for me, I think it's all about accountability and then hiring the right people around you who can help you scale and really provide that value to your clients that makes it super unique.
Nice. And that brings me to the other question, which is like, is there something, and this could have been it, is there something you wish you had known when you first started scaling your coaching business that is like an unexpected lesson learned from you?
Yeah, I think there are two things that jump out. The first is with a coaching business, there's only one of you, and it is hard when you have a lot of one-on-ones. So I wish that I had learned how to go to group coaching earlier because there is a level of burnout which will naturally happen if you're taking clients back to back every single day. And I think a lot of coaches face that. I wish I had prepared more for that at the very beginning, and now I feel like I'm through that phase, but it would have been helpful to know. And then the second thing is what I just alluded to is that there's honestly so many tools, methodologies, frameworks that are available out there, and a lot of those are really good, but it's also important to have a level of discernment and not just buy things because you think somebody else is going to do it for you. There's no such thing as that. You are still going to have to be the one to do all of the work at the end of the day and understand what's being implemented into your business. So having true discernment about, is this person or this offer really elevating what I have to share and offer, or is it me just trying to get the easy way out or trying to copy someone else?
Did you find it challenging in the moment you switched from just doing one-on-one coaching to going into group coaching and now doing both?
I actually found it really fun and relieving because having a group together, there's more energy and the people actually coach one another. So for me, it was really rewarding. I did have a background where I had already been hosting some events, so it was a very easy transition for me. But I can imagine for some people, if your energy runs differently, or maybe if you're only used to one-on-ones or more introverted, it could definitely be a challenge. But for me, it's been purely joyful and expansive.
Cool. And what would you say are some of the biggest challenges that you faced in scaling your coaching business or that you're like still facing today?
I think it's just, well, so one is one-on-one to group. So if you have too many one-on-ones, you will get burned out. That's a challenge, and that's something that I hit earlier on in my journey. The second thing is, I think as a coach, it's important and also difficult sometimes to get your message out there because there are so many coaches and the industry is very saturated. And so this leads into something I would share with other coaches, but I think that uniqueness is becoming extremely imperative at this time because there's a lot of mimicry and there's a lot of similarity. And so knowing what really sets you apart, I think, is what makes a coach actually successful at the end of the day, and being able to clearly articulate that. So it's a challenge, but it's also an opportunity for advancement.
I do feel that you do have like a quite unique message on your own business though. So
Thank you.
how do you currently balance or handle the balance between delivering these great client results, especially in groups, and on the other side also managing business growth?
It's a time management strategy. It requires you to be a very careful executor. I have set up my schedule in such a way where I have specific days dedicated to different things. I have a day where I'm focused on my email newsletter. I have a day where I'm focused on pulling data and reviewing results from previous cohorts or even from my Instagram. So I think it's a matter of being very organized. And even with finances, for example, I have time in my calendar to go over that. For me, that has worked best. I think other people can be a little bit more fluid, but I think what it ultimately comes down to is your delivery has to be amazing, because that's why people continually come back to you and also refer you to their friends and to their colleagues and to others. And then your strategy is even more important, I think. And so you
Hmm.
can never lose sight of the strategy. And I think it is a challenge for a lot of coaches because it's very easy to get sucked in to the day to day and forget about the overarching picture. But I like to think of it as you almost have to pull yourself up to the higher level perspective and be able to see the business as if you were somebody else, standing on the outside, looking in, not being stuck in the forest, so to speak.
Um, and is there any final advice you'd like to give to other potentially life coaches or other most of our audience is going to be career coaches and executive coaches, but there's also going to be some life coaches. What advice would you give to them when they're looking to scale their impact?
Yeah, I would think about your client and what you want your client to say about you when they have finished their coaching package with you. How did you change their lives? And, I think in our current society, it's easy to get caught up in always focusing on numbers and percentages and results, and that's extremely important, but also how did you change their life? And the more you know that really clearly, and the more you can anchor to that in your messaging, that's what makes you a huge catalyst and an advocate for growth in all of your clients' lives. So I think it's just important to be crystal clear in your messaging, to be unique, not to copy, not to mimic, to get out of that energy and to really stand for something that is special. And I think if you can do that, then you'll always enjoy what you do and you'll always have fun and you'll always help other people grow.
Thank you so much, Gabriella. And for anyone who wants to connect with you or find you in the future, they can find you on Gabriella Alziari in LinkedIn. And they can also find you at your website, gabriellaalziari.com.
Yeah, so my
So
my coaching website is actually www.alziari.co. So that's where you can find me. It's just my last name.
cool. We'll make sure to also put that into the description of this video for anyone who wants to find it. They can click directly on the link. Well, thank you so much, Gabriella. It was a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
That's it for this episode of Career Coaching Secrets. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe to YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this episode to catch future episodes. This conversation was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to 7 and 8 figures without burning out. To learn more about Purple Circle, our community, and how we can help you grow your business, visit joinpurplecircle.com.